Well, I have in the studio with me Anthony Ring, as I mentioned before, actor, producer, dedicated teacher. How are you this morning, Anthony?
Good morning, Sarah. Yeah, I'm pretty good this morning, thank you.
You're pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to say, you look pretty good from this side of the desk.
Thanks very much. Despite my droopy eyes, thanks to very early start marking my kids' work for assessments and preparing for reports at this time of year. So, I feel like I'm moonlighting much of the time, just trying to compartmentalise schoolwork at 4:30 and then, coming to do this at 9 o'clock. Wow.
Well,
life is full. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to say, we're making a movie today as well. So at 12:30, yeah, today and tomorrow, we're making a short film for the Understory Film Festival as well.
Oh
so
my
all
God.
of the preparation involved of making a movie, I'm producing that and acting in it and sorting out the cast and all that sort of stuff. So, along with Travis, the director of Throwback, yeah.
Well, where to begin? About a month ago, while I was overseas, Sarah Flenley was in here in the hot seat, and you came in and talked to her about Throwback, the new feature film that is part of your baby, isn't it? You're producing and acting in that?
Yes. Throwback is a locally produced and acted in and written, etc. Feature film for an extraordinarily low budget, which has now graced the international film circuit, and we started our journey. And 3 weeks ago to the day, we were in fact at the US premiere of our movie. So we went out to the States, to San Jose, to the famous Monsters of Filmland festival, which is attached to a very large comic book convention. And
awesome. I love
it really astounded me because I hadn't been around quite so many geeks before in my life. It was almost like a fancy dress party. It was without the additions. It was just it was a bit extraordinary. There was lots and lots and lots of people there. So we were a bit of an unknown entity when we got there, and if it wasn't for our man on the inside, Vernon Wells, of Road Warrior and Commando fame, without his support, we probably would have been sort of brushed to obscurity. But fortunately we had him there, so he generated some interest through his previous projects, so that we did end up with a bit of an audience inside the cinema for the screening, which was good. But the Yanks didn't really get our sense of humour too good. So I'm really, really looking forward to next week, where we get our announcement of our Cairns premiere. So Throwback is coming to Cairns by the end of the year, and it will be announced next week, the official venue for Throwback. And so we're hoping to get a full house and support through the media and from people in Cairns to come and watch our movie, because I think we'll then enjoy it.
Now, tell us first also about the success that Throwback had at this famous Monster Movie Festival.
Okay, this probably goes into two parts. Because the people at the comic book convention weren't ostensibly film buffs, they were comic book people. Yeah. So to drag people into our film, our obscure film from Australia, it was a bit of a job. However, when the film got going, it was pretty cool. They stuck around, that was great. But really critically, the people that we needed to impress were the people that run the show there, and that did happen. So when the awards were presented for the week of the weekend's films, we ended up getting Best Foreign Film.
Fantastic.
I was a bit upset by that, actually.
Why was that?
Well, I've always considered foreign film being a bit token, so I told the organisers what I thought, and I was royally put in my place. I said to the organiser, Ed, I said, I'm not being disrespectful here, but don't you think foreign film's just a little bit token? And he just immediately said, well, Anthony, we don't put our name to any project. If you get Best Foreign Film, that means you competed against 40 of the best international films, So, take it, man. It's pretty good. You know what I mean? So, I felt pretty good after that, even though I was dressed down, and Trav sort of, he was his normal, pretty reserved self as I was getting a bit of a verbal, but I'm sure he enjoyed that as well. So, then we celebrated with Vernon, and it was fantastic, actually. We went out for a really lovely meal with some other genre movie people from the industry, who'd come up from Hollywood that partied with us, which was really, really lovely, because we got to know those guys, and it sets up our future projects, because they liked what we did for a very, very small budget, with our limited resources, and so who knows, it's all for the taking in the future. That sets up our next few projects really, really well, because we've now got leverage through winning a festival. We've now got potential with organisations like Screen Australia Australia, Screen Queensland to get funding, you know,
Totally.
to garner support. And that's not even looking at the other crowdfunding options. We've got big ambitions for the future. And while we're on that, I'll tell you about our next project.
Before you do, I don't want to stem the flow. I just was going to ask very quickly. Obviously, as you say, everything was done on a shoestring budget, but how did you finance getting out to America and doing that whole thing?
That's called bank loans.
Bank loans?
Yeah. I went to the bank and increased my current enormous overdraft by about $10,000.
Right.
And that at least gave us enough for airfares, hotels, and other sort of contingencies like entry to the film fest and table at the convention.
Yeah.
But there's so many other costs that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
But we had to get this money. It had to be done, you know.
And did you get local support as well?
Absolutely. So we got some amazing support. Cairns Hardware in particular was our number one sponsor. They provided us with a real solid platform. They provided us with a fair chunk of cash for us to, you know, to go and live our dream, which was just amazing.
That's fantastic.
I'd like to also acknowledge the GoFundMe, www.gofundme.com sponsors and contributors to our cause. We raised another $500 or so that way. Yeah. So that really mitigated a lot of the cost of going. It really does. It did enable us to make the most of it, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's because it is all the hidden costs, and you know, and the fact that you could even go and be there for the whole thing. How fantastic! And
it was. I'd also like to acknowledge my school on that note as well, because you know they, particularly the principal, Mr. McMaster.
Which school is this? Anthony?
This is St Andrews Catholic College.
Yeah.
Lee McMaster took a look at my application for leave, and he said, he nodded and said, look, this is a great opportunity for you, Anthony, to expand your own skills, on a personal level, and hopefully bring some of those skills back to St Andrews,
there we go.
Looking to potentially diversify in the future, and possibly move from middle school into a role where I'm sort of nurturing, mentoring full-on drama students.
Fantastic.
And on that note, I would like to say a big shout out to my lovely Year 6 crew. Morning, guys, or afternoon. I'm not sure when this is going to be played. It's now, isn't it?
Now.
We'll get it recorded and played into the class. I've just marked your HSS assignments, guys, and I need to have a bit of a chat. Anyway, let's move on.
Oh dear. So as I stopped you before, you were about to launch into what's next.
Yes, Travis has been fervently beavering away on a new treatment. Now, a treatment is basically a story, an outline of a story, and he's been working on a treatment derived and inspired by the books of H.P. Lovecraft. If you're not familiar with him, he's a very dark horror writer from 100 years ago. He's a bit Edgar Allan Poe. He doesn't really shine a light on the world, if you know what I mean. He's very, very dark. As a person, he was quite troubled.
Yes.
And that really is reflected in his writing. However, he's a master storyteller. So Travis has taken many of the aspects of his novels and combined them into a film treatment, which is going to be an outback sci-fi horror. And I've read it, and I was jumping off my seat when I was reading it, and I very rarely do that. So kudos to Trav for knocking out a fantastic treatment. When he's now in the process of scripting that up, and then we're hopefully going to take that with us when we go to see Screen Australia at some point in July, which I'm very excited about as well. Yes, so lots on the horizon.
God, dear. And it's all coming from Cairns, isn't it? Isn't that fantastic?
It is, yeah. Which is nice because recently there's been, I suppose, what's the word? An attempt to galvanise the industry through a government body called Advanced Cairns. And of the industry professionals working in Cairns, there's a feeling that we should be coming together to support each other and to promote each other, so that we can catch the big projects that are coming from elsewhere, you know.
Yeah. And
it seems quite apt to the timing that we're in the process of, releasing Throwback and looking towards other projects, so that we can once again put Cairns on the map. Yes, we've got the locations, we've got all sorts of positive things running for this town as a major industry location for film. There there are fantastic working professionals in this town.
That's right, and the light is so good, because of the conditions that we have here.
Funny you should say that. Travis, the director of Throwback, made Throwback on a very, very, very modest piece of equipment, but he made the most of the light here and the natural beauty, and it looks incredible. You just wouldn't believe that it was so much was achievable by so little. And yes, testament to Cairns, the light, and to Trav as well.
I've
in
got
this case.
Goosebumps. I worked on the Thin Red Line with Terrace Malick, and that was a 6-month project. And the only time he used lighting was when it was night shooting.
Amazing.
So he's a very artistic director, as you would well know, and that was his whole thing. He chose this area because of the structure of the lighting and of course the environment, but he didn't use any lights at all in daytime filming. That was it was all done with natural light.
I can completely relate to that, because at not one point during the 92 minutes of our film, I'm just thinking, no, and I don't think at any point at all did we use any additional lighting.
There we go.
At all. It was all natural light, which is pretty phenomenal.
Well, I think it must be that there's a certain element of stability in the light here, so you don't get huge variations in. That's providing the weather's clear.
Yeah, look, there was. I mean, you're faced with trials and tribulations and problem solving. That is filmmaking to a T.
Yeah.
So each day that we were filming, we had to be fairly consistent with the light, because it was, in the script, in the story, it's a summer, so we can't have clouds.
Yeah.
When I say summer, I'm talking about it was bright because there has to be a fire, a jungle fire, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So the light had to be consistent. So we were waiting a lot for the clouds to clear and etc., etc. But when we got it, it was, it was consistent.
Spot on.
Yeah, it was consistent. So,
Well, look, Anthony, thanks so much for coming in. My heart sings when I hear stuff like this, naturally, because it opens up a whole perspective for so many. I'll be putting up my hand to audition if there's a role.
Absolutely, Sarah. Absolutely.
It is something that is very exciting, and the fact that you are going to be announcing a premiere release sometime next week, we're hoping,
Absolutely, yeah. What I'd say to anyone listening who's interested, please check out Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, Throwback Movie. It's facebook.com/Throwback Movie.
Yep.
And on that you'll get updates of what's going on. We'd really love the town to get behind us, because this is something that was done actually here with no foreign investment, no outside help. We did it with our own resources,
blood, sweat and tears
and talent
and passion.
Blood, sweat, tears and years. That's what it will be. Maybe that's the tagline that we need.
So, thank you so much for coming in, and I'm just really excited. We'll give it whatever we can give it,
Thank you so much for having us, Sarah.
It's just awesome.
One more time, thank you very much to everyone listening, and to our sponsors, Cairns Hardware and GoFundMe.com.
Beautiful. You have a wonderful day.